In the end, many people wish they could live alone because they see it as peaceful. Life shows us that we come into and will leave the world alone. As we grow up, we notice that friends and family can sometimes be with us briefly. A wise person who lived a long life once said this, making us think. When we are young, we enjoy being with others and feel happy. But as we get older, sometimes that happiness can fade and be replaced by the stress that comes from relationships. Many older folks say that being alone can lead to more happiness. Even people like the Buddha and other wise thinkers from many different times and places have thought about solitude. There are 4 essential types of being alone. We come into the world alone, we leave it alone, we deal with hard times alone, and we go through life alone. The good or bad things we create in our lives are ours alone. Life can be challenging. We are born, grow up, get sick, and eventually die all by ourselves. You may meet family and friends, but your journey is yours. Realizing that we can be alone should not make us sad. Instead, it can inspire us to live a life where we follow our wishes. True happiness comes from feeling good about ourselves, not just from other people. We might feel restless or unhappy if we depend too much on others. Chasing after things like money, fame, or possessions might make us happy for a while, but those things won't last forever. It can hurt when we hold on tight to someone we love. It's essential to focus on our journey instead of worrying too much about others. Imagine being like a brave lion who isn't bothered by chaos or a flower growing beautifully in muddy. Each one is unique and free. Relying too much on others can lead to sadness, but taking care of ourselves can bring true joy. Tying ourselves too closely to things like money, popularity, or relationships can weigh us down. The more we depend on those outside things, the more our happiness can go up and down, which can feel like being stuck. But finding joy in our adventure and not getting distracted can lead to true freedom. Always try to do what is right, even when it's easy or hard. Don't let your feelings or what you want for yourself lead you to make bad choices. If you avoid doing what you know you should, because it's tough, or focus only on short-term rewards instead of what is genuinely proper, because you might run into trouble later. The most important truth in life is to always act in a good way and never choose to do wrong. Wisdom and good luck often come from being generous and sharing. It's good to open your heart and help others. This should be a big part of your life. Practicing letting go of things you want too much helps clear your mind of worries and distractions, making it peaceful and calm. Sharing with your neighbors brings good fortune and enables you to fight against greed and want, making it easier to have a clear mind and a happy heart. It's essential to help those in need, share what you have, and let go of greed. Starting each day with a fresh mind and taking a moment for reflection can be very helpful, too. Living simply and connecting with nature is crucial. Think about your actions. There are things you shouldn't do and many good things you might often forget. Being alone can teach you a lot about happiness and wisdom. When you get close to understanding the truth, it shines bright like snow on a mountain. But if you drift away from it, it can feel hidden, just like an arrow lost in the dark. Spending time alone and being mindful can bring joy to your heart, much like wandering through a quiet forest. Once, the Buddha met a monk who lived alone and asked him about his life. The monk said he was living and begging alone. The Buddha said there was an even better way to forget the past and not worry about the future. Living in the present without holding on to things and letting go of regrets helps you find true peace. That's what a genuinely fulfilling solitary life is like. Solitude is wise and can teach you a lot. Being alone helps you discover your true self. People who depend on themselves have strong willpower. Understanding the value of sharing and giving is essential, much like having a light in a dark room. Even if you live well without sharing, you might miss more profound happiness. Wisdom guides your actions. Without it, you may temporarily have a nice life but won't reach your full potential. You can achieve clarity and strength through meditation and focus, just like diamonds shining bright. You can create confusion and misunderstandings without understanding the importance of doing good deeds. Think of wisdom as a light that helps you see in the dark. It makes life meaningful. No matter what good actions you take or how many blessings you hope for, they won't make a big difference if they aren't guided by wisdom. Wisdom helps you see clearly and can help end suffering. Without it, even hard work and self-control won't lead you far. Understanding wisdom means knowing that it's not just about having much knowledge. Knowledge fills your mind, while wisdom helps you let go of unnecessary things. Many people focus on earning money and satisfying their wants, thinking that's the key to life. In our world today, this kind of knowledge might seem important, but it doesn't lead to true happiness or peace. The more we try to fill ourselves up with things, the less free we feel, which can lead to unhappiness. Real happiness, freedom, peace, and even enlightenment come from letting go, not piling up more stuff. True peace comes quietly when we release our worries, wants, and attachments. In the everyday world, it seems like the more you have, the richer you are, but in reality, true wealth comes from how much you can let go. While knowledge is valued in society, wisdom helps you succeed. Often, real happiness is found when you're by yourself. Understanding yourself is a solo path. Joy can grow in solitude. Although being around others can feel comforting, genuine happiness can often be discovered when you're alone. The happiness from being with people or from money and power is usually short-lived. If you can be confident alone, you'll develop a peaceful spirit that things or people outside yourself don't quickly shake. In solitude, you can connect deeply with the universe. Being alone helps free you from outside pressures, allowing you to truly see, feel, and understand the world and nature around you. To know who you are and understand the meaning of wisdom and what Buddhism represents, you must experience true solitude, body, mind, and spirit. That's when you find out what real joy is. The joy found in being alone is often more significant than the joy of being with others. Or having possessions. It's a special feeling that can't be realized any other way. Sometimes, you might find that love is hidden in loneliness. A person with many loved ones might also face many sorrows, but someone alone might feel less pain and anxiety. Having many connections can bring a lot of struggles, but being without those ties might bring a sense of freedom from grief. Having many attachments often leads to many desires and wishes that can feel overwhelming and bring a lot of pain. Our most substantial feelings can sometimes lead to suffering, whether attachment, desire, or love. Think about what you treasure: material possessions, thoughts, or relationships. If you were to think about what you could let go of if you knew your time was near, it might be your children, partner, wealth, pride, or love. Even though these things are precious, they can also bring you pain. When we cling too tightly to what we love, we often hurt. It's good to appreciate what we love, but it's important not to possess it too strongly. Nothing truly belongs to us in this world, and there's nothing we should either love or hate excessively. Life can feel like a vast place where our hearts struggle to rest. We often turn to love to escape loneliness, but everyone has some emptiness. When we confront that deep loneliness, real love can grow pure and free from obsession, much like a beautiful flower blooming. Finding out who you are doesn't come from outside yourself. The strongest and bravest people lead their own lives, and when their mind is strong and stable, they can become wise, like the Buddha. Understanding your past and recognizing the cycle of life can help your wisdom shine brightly. Standing firm in who you are shows true strength and courage. Caring for others is tough if you can't take care of yourself. As Cicero pointed out, true happiness can slip away from those who don't fully commit to themselves and their growth. Don't give away your power to anyone, not even to a higher power. It's about creating your journey instead of letting someone else, even a divine figure, dictate what you should do. Your life today is shaped by your choices, not any outside force. David Lawrence captured this idea by saying that we are fundamentally alone. By accepting this truth that you are who you are, you can find profound happiness in being yourself. Don't seek your identity in things that aren't part of you. Avoid looking for validation in places where you don't naturally fit in. If your heart doesn't want to give to someone, it's okay to let that go. Actions without true feelings aren't really a part of your true self, because your true self exists within your heart. Transforming a life filled with burdens into one that shines with kindness and positivity is the most important and fulfilling goal you can achieve. Being alone can be good because it helps you better understand yourself. Think about it: when we are born, we come into the world by ourselves, and when we leave, we go alone, too. There are 4 important things about being alone that you should know as you grow up. First, every person goes through their own tough times alone, like the challenges of growing up, getting sick, and eventually saying goodbye to life. We might meet family and friends along the way, but those friendships don't last forever, and in the end, each person must walk their own path. It's important to accept being alone instead of running from it. You should try to live your life in a way that feels right. This means standing on 2 feet and being proud of who you are. True happiness doesn't come from being around other people or from things like money or fame, because those things can go away quickly and not make us happy. Life is like a big journey. Every time we meet someone, it's special, but we must remember that every meeting can lead to a goodbye. Instead of clinging to someone you care about too tightly, focus on your own journey. Think of yourself as a brave lion who isn't scared of noise, a beautiful lotus flower that grows in mud but stays clean, or a strong wind that can't be caught. Being too attached to others can bring sadness, while following your own path can make you really happy. It's painful to let outside things, like money or being popular, tie you down. The more we care about those things, the more our feelings go up and down, making us feel trapped. Real joy comes when you walk your own path. When I'm not worried about what others think or trying to be like someone else, I feel the happiest. I want to be myself and move forward on my own road. When nobody holds me back, I don't get upset by what's happening around me. Instead, I know exactly where I want to go and take those steps confidently. Each step I take feels fulfilling, and I can go freely without anything holding me down. Don't be scared or worried. Always try to find joy in your own journey every moment. Remember, just like a strong rock stands firm against the wind, a wise person doesn't let others change their feelings. They don't hurt others with their words or actions and live in a way that might not get them a lot of praise, but they stay true to themselves. It's nice to be recognized, but if you feel sad when others don't notice you, it shows you let their opinions control your feelings. Be careful with compliments, because they can make you feel good and throw you off balance. A grounded person knows who they are and isn't affected by what others say, whether good or bad. If someone only thinks about the good things people say, they can feel very low when they face criticism. It's important not to let praise go to your head and to stay calm when someone says something negative. The best way to avoid feeling bad about criticism is to stop searching for compliments. When you don't need compliments anymore, the worry about criticism goes away, too. You should be able to accept both praise and criticism without getting too excited or upset. When you have a strong sense of yourself, outside opinions won't change your feelings. Think of yourself like a sturdy tree or a tall mountain that stands strong in a storm. Letting go of connections that don't help you is also important. Focus on doing what's right daily and avoid doing the wrong things. Don't give up, even when things get tough. If you back away from challenges because they seem hard now, how will you handle even bigger challenges later? In everyday life, stick to what's right and avoid what's wrong. Don't get distracted by feelings or things that seem easier but lead you away from doing the right thing. Ignoring your responsibilities or chasing after quick rewards that aren't good for you can cause bigger problems later. The simplest truth in life is to do what's right and avoid what's wrong. Learning wisdom and being a good person comes from this understanding. Being generous and letting things go are always the right choices and should be how you live your life. The wisdom that helps clear my mind comes from practice. When I let go of things I hold onto too tightly, I can be free from worries and distractions. By easing my burdens and focusing on finding peace, I open myself to better things by being generous. Sharing my toys and belongings with friends and neighbors helps me feel less greedy and teaches me to live simply and humbly. Doing kind things like helping others, sharing, and letting go of wanting too much helps me grow. I also enjoy quiet moments when I meditate or pray, which helps ground me and keeps my heart pure. Living simply makes me feel more connected to nature and keeps me balanced and happy. Sometimes I need to stop and think about my life. Are there things I should stop doing? Have I been forgetting my responsibilities? Sometimes being alone can help me learn important lessons about happiness. When I'm close to a stone or see a mountain covered in snow, I appreciate them more. But if I wander too far away, I might forget about them, just like an arrow that disappears into the night. Walking alone on my journey helps me stay focused on what matters. This makes my heart feel joyful, like wandering freely in a peaceful forest. There was a time when the Buddha visited a busy city and met a monk who was happy being alone. The Buddha asked him if he lived and begged by himself, and the monk said, "Yes, I do." The Buddha understood that while the monk knew how to be alone, there was even more to it than just being physically alone. True solitude means letting go of the past and not worrying much about the future or getting stuck in the busy moments. It's about freeing my heart from worries and moving past wanting too much. This deeper understanding of being alone is an important teacher, showing me wisdom through looking inside myself and being self-reliant. The wisdom of emptiness shines like a bright light in the dark. Living without the kindness of generosity might give you a comfortable life, but you could miss out on truly understanding what matters. A life without wisdom can bring short-lived happiness but won't have much meaning. If I don't behave well, the rewards I get might just be for show and not really valuable. Working hard is great, but any temporary gain will eventually fade away without wisdom. If I don't meditate and think, I will miss out on the deeper truths of life. When we don't act kindly or struggle to keep our minds clear and focused, we can get confused and sad. It's really important to have wisdom because it helps us live a meaningful life. No matter how good our intentions are or how hard we try to do the right thing, those efforts don't mean much without wisdom to guide us. Wisdom shines a light, helping us see through the shadows of suffering. Even if we do nice things or try to follow the rules to be good, our actions can feel pointless without wisdom. Out of all the good qualities, wisdom is the most important. But what is wisdom? It's not just knowing a lot of facts. Knowing things can sometimes make our minds messy, while true wisdom helps to clear our thoughts. When we focus too much on collecting or chasing after what we want, we might find ourselves holding on to things that don't matter. Society often tells us that having lots of knowledge or things means we're successful. But even if we get rich or smart, it doesn't bring us real happiness or peace. In fact, the more stuff we try to collect, the less free we feel, and we can end up feeling unsatisfied. True happiness and freedom come when we learn to let go instead of always wanting more. We won't find enlightenment by chasing after knowledge, possessions, or desires. It grows in our peaceful, quiet moments. In the noisy world around us, people often think our worth depends on how much we gather, but true richness comes from how much we are willing to let go. While many people think having lots of friends makes us happy, real happiness often comes when we learn to be okay alone. Spending time by ourselves is super important. The journey of someone who seeks truth is often a solitary one. We might enjoy fun moments with friends, but sometimes being alone can make us feel anxious or lost. However, looking inside ourselves, we can discover how peaceful alone can be. Temporary happiness can come from being with others or having nice things, but the real joy comes from knowing ourselves deeply, even on our own. When we walk confidently on our own path, we learn not to be swayed by material things or what others think. We can connect more deeply with everything around us in our solitude. Being alone doesn't mean you're lonely or isolated. Instead, it can help you feel free from distractions and give you time to think about who you are. When you're in this quiet space, you can see and understand the world around you much better and start discovering real wisdom inside yourself. It's important to embrace being completely alone, body, mind, and spirit, to get to know who you are and what wisdom means. In this alone time, a special happiness can be better than any moment spent with friends or any toy you own. Sometimes, people with a lot of money can feel sad and carry heavy burdens, while those without a close friend might feel lighter and worry less. It's true that no matter how many loved ones we have, we can still feel pain and sadness in our hearts. When we cling too tightly to things, like desires, objects, and even people we love, it can cause us more suffering. Think about what you care about, maybe your toys, your family, or your dreams. What would you hold onto if you had to say goodbye? Sometimes, the things we hold dear can also bring us pain. Loving deeply is wonderful, but it's important to remember not to hold on too tightly. Even if something feels like yours, try to hold it lightly in your heart. In the end, nothing truly belongs to us. Accepting this can help us feel less hurt and bring real peace. The world can feel big and empty, and we often try to fill that emptiness with love. But sometimes, even with others, we can feel alone inside. True love can only grow when we face our own solitude. This kind of love is pure and beautiful, like a flower blooming in the sunshine. Don't look for who you are in things outside of you, because the strongest and bravest people learn to stand on their own. When someone has a wise and strong mind, that's what makes them a true person. This person understands life and death and shines with wisdom, just like the Buddha. True strength comes from accepting yourself as you are. If you can't be okay with yourself, it's hard to show the world your best side. If you don't have self-control, it can be hard to get along with others. A smart person named Cicero said that when you focus on yourself and take care of your own feelings, you can find happiness. Don't let other people, whether they're friends or even gods, take away your power. You are the one who decides how you feel and what's important in your life. Each of us is unique, and this means we often feel alone. It's perfectly okay to be yourself, and understanding that you're your person is the key to happiness. Don't search for who you are in places that feel wrong. If you don't really want to do something for someone else, it's best not to do it. Actions without genuine feelings aren't really who you are. True happiness comes from understanding and accepting ourselves. Sometimes we carry heavy feelings, but we shine with true happiness if we can turn that sadness into kindness. Everyone has a natural goodness inside, and true happiness comes from bravery and strength. Your strength might surprise you, even if it feels out of reach. Remember, nothing is impossible if you keep going, even when things get tough. You can learn from the Buddha, who teaches us about being strong and wise. Anyone who learns from him is a part of that special group. Keep practicing and stay strong. You are a disciple of the Buddha. Spend time learning about yourself, because even though this journey can be hard, it leads to growth and understanding. Just being born and living a long life is a big challenge. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming, like we've just been dropped into this world. Philosophers like Heidegger talk about how strange it is to be alive, leaving us empty. But remember, all living beings have this same experience of life. Amazingly, we exist at all. We're lucky to live in a time when we have access to the wise words of the Buddha. Even if we often go about our days not realizing how special that is. After becoming enlightened, the Buddha was on his way to share his teachings when he met a man named Ubaga. This shows us that even great leaders started their journeys and faced their own challenges, just like we do. One day, a man named Ubaga saw the Buddha and said, "Wow. Your face shines with a special light. Who taught you all this?" The Buddha smiled and replied, "I have conquered everything inside me. I know so much now, and I'm free from worries and wanting too much. I've let go of my cravings and found true freedom and wisdom. I don't need a teacher because I've reached a level of understanding that is greater than anything else. I am the Buddha, which means I understand the ultimate truth. I've found happiness beyond normal feelings, and now I will teach others about this truth in Benares." Some people might have felt surprised or confused as the Buddha shared his teachings. They might have even run away because what they heard was hard to believe. There's a smart person named Pascal who talked about three kinds of people. Those who really search for God and serve Him, those who can't find God and don't even try, and those who can find God but choose not to. Even if those last people seem wise, they might still feel unhappy. The people who truly understand this knowledge seek the truth for its own sake without needing to seem powerful or important. Life flows like a river around us, and the people who dive into that flow feel different from those who don't. This difference can make us feel alone sometimes. That's why it's important to enjoy quiet moments when you can be alone. It helps you become more of who you are. Ultimately, we are all just beings placed into this world. As you grow up, it's important to consider the four kinds of loneliness that come with life. First, we come into the world alone, and we will leave it alone, too. We go through tough times by ourselves, and our journey through life is something we do individually. The choices we make in life are ours alone, and we face the results of those choices by ourselves. When we are born, grow older, get sick, and face our last days, we often do these things without others standing by us. We might have family and friends, but those connections don't last forever. In the end, we all walk our paths. Even though we come into this world surrounded by people, there are times when you'll need to travel your journey on your own. So, embrace those moments of being alone. Instead of trying to run away from being alone, learn how to grow and be happy. You can shape your life in a way that feels right to you, and that freedom is really important to help you fully enjoy your journey as a person. True peace comes when you learn to stand strong on 2 feet. If you try to find happiness only by being with others, it might feel weak and uncertain. Chasing after things like money, fame, power, or toys might make you feel good for a while, but these things don't last and can feel empty. While life is about connecting with others, remember that every meeting will eventually end in a goodbye. It's important to walk your own path with pride. Sometimes we feel sad when we cling too tightly to people, trying to hold on to what we cannot own. Instead of holding on to love or hate too tightly, focus on your own journey. You can be like a lion that stays calm in a noisy crowd, like a lotus flower that stays clean in muddy water, or like a breeze that cannot be caught. Choose to create your path because being too tied to others can lead to suffering. Walking your own path can bring you a lot of happiness. When you let other people's expectations weigh you down, it can feel really painful. This isn't just about being enslaved in the traditional way, it can feel like being trapped in a life of serving others. Think about how much we tie ourselves to things like money, fame, and power, hoping that having more will make us happy while having less will make us sad. Isn't this a way of being stuck to those things? The true joy of life comes from walking your special path. When you don't let others' opinions or desires sway you and focus on your journey, you discover real happiness. You don't have to live by someone else's rules or pretend to be someone you're not. Just being yourself and following your own path leads to true happiness. People who walk their own way aren't bothered by the ups and downs around them. They don't waste their energy feeling sorry for themselves or trying to be like someone else. As you walk your path, stay strong and clear where you want to go. For some, life is about finding those perfect moments when every step feels like reaching a special goal. You can explore your path without fear when you're free from being tied down by others. Allow each moment to be filled with joy as you go in your chosen direction. Don't let what other people think shake your balance. Just like a strong rock stands firm against strong winds, a wise person stays calm, no matter if they get praise or criticism. They don't try to hurt anyone's feelings and don't let pride get to them. Instead, they stay calm even when others disagree. This is how you can live a good life. Don't seek approval or attention from others. While compliments might feel nice, counting on them too much can lead to disappointment. Relying too much on what others think of you is like being a leaf blown around by the wind. Instead, it's important to build strength from inside yourself and let your path grow beautifully. You must be careful because it's easy to get thrown off balance. When you're steady inside, you won't be shaken by people saying nice or not so nice things about you. The more someone enjoys hearing good things about themselves, the harder it can be when they hear something negative. If you can stay calm and not let compliments make you feel too high, you won't feel too low when someone criticizes you. Accepting both praise and criticism without clinging too tightly to either one is important. You won't be as afraid of negative comments when you stop needing others to tell you how great you are. Once you let go of wanting praise, you'll find it easier to handle criticism. Enjoy the nice things people say about you, but don't let them make you feel big or better than others. When someone says something mean, don't let it bring you down. A truly strong person stays steady, no matter what others think. Think of a big tree that stands tall in a storm or a strong mountain that stays firm during heavy rain. A true friend knows how to stay steady, no matter what others say. If something feels wrong, learning how to let it go is important. Remember to do what is right and avoid what is wrong in your daily life. Stick to what you believe in, especially when it's tough. Giving up what is good just because it's hard now might only get harder later. Make a promise to yourself to do the right thing and let go of things that aren't good for you. Do your responsibilities and avoid doing things that might lead you away from being a good person. If you let some discomfort stop you from taking important steps or choose something easy but wrong, you might find bigger problems later. The best advice is always to do what's right. Try to stay away from actions that are not wise or good. Sharing what you have, being kind, and letting go of wanting too much are all great ways to live. Sharing with others helps make your heart feel light and happy. Doing kind things and sharing with friends helps you stop wanting too much and clears your mind. This is the path that leads you to peace and happiness. So remember, acts of kindness, sharing your toys, and being a good friend are really important things to do every day. Each morning, it's wonderful to sit quietly, think about your day, and even say a little prayer. Living simply and appreciating nature is important, too. Take a moment to think about your life. Are you pushing yourself to do things that don't help you? Are you forgetting about the important things you need to do? Sometimes, being alone teaches us the biggest lessons about happiness and how to be wise. Looking closely at a rock shows its true beauty, just like snow resting peacefully on a tall mountain. Embrace these moments of thinking because they help you understand life better. If you keep your distance from the rocks, you might not notice how special they are, just like an arrow flying in the dark. Sitting quietly, lying alone, or walking alone, focusing on just one thing, can bring you joy that feels like exploring a quiet forest. There's a story about the Buddha, who lived in Jetavana Monastery. He asked a monk who lived alone and begged for food, "Do you really stay alone?" The monk said, "Yes, blessed one." The Buddha replied, "You may be alone, but there's an even deeper way to enjoy being alone. It means letting go of the past, not worrying about the future, and being calm in the present moment. It's about having a mind that is free from worries and desires. That's the true way of being alone. Being by yourself can help you learn a lot. When you rely on yourself, you show real strength. Wisdom is like a light in the dark. Life can feel short and unfulfilling without it. If your actions are not wise, you might only find temporary happiness. Even if you work hard, without wisdom, what you do may not really matter. Meditating and focusing helps, but if you don't have wisdom, it makes it hard to grow. You might feel confused or sad without wisdom, even if you're trying to do good. Wisdom is what helps you see clearly. No matter how many good things you do, if they aren't backed by wisdom, they won't really be valuable. Wisdom helps turn struggles into opportunities to grow. Even when you are patient, generous, or hardworking, without wisdom, those actions lose their meaning. So, what is wisdom? It's important to remember that just knowing a lot doesn't mean you have wisdom. Knowledge fills your mind with facts, but wisdom helps you avoid wanting too much and teaches you to understand life better. Some think gathering as much knowledge and wealth as possible is the most important thing, but true wisdom is way more valuable. It's about knowing how to be a good person and live happily. Even though having lots of money and knowledge sounds good, it doesn't really guarantee true happiness, freedom, or peace. In fact, the more things you have, the more you might feel trapped and unhappy. True happiness, freedom, and peace come from letting go of desires, greed, and worries instead of always trying to get more. You can feel a deep sense of fulfillment when you release these things. In our material world, people think wealth means having many things. However, regarding spiritual truth, real richness is how much you can let go. Society usually praises knowledge, but wisdom is even more important if you want a meaningful life. Real happiness often comes when you are alone. Embrace being by yourself. A seeker's journey is often lonely. Joy can be found in solitude. Sometimes we think happiness means being with others, but feeling cozy and loved while alone can help you feel calm and relaxed. You might discover deeper truths about yourself and the world in these quiet moments, leading to lasting happiness. I sometimes feel confused about what to do, but I notice that true happiness often comes by myself. The joy you get from being around others or from money and fame is short-lived. If I learn to walk confidently alone, I won't be swayed by what I own or what others think. Being alone helps me connect better with the world. I can truly face myself in those moments. I understand nature and the world around me in solitude, which brings real wisdom. To learn who I am, what Buddhism teaches, and what wisdom really means, I need to look deep inside myself, my body, mind, and heart. It's important to know how to be alone. That's when I can truly understand what joy is. The happiness that comes from being with others or having things is not as strong as the pure joy I can find in being alone. There is a special kind of love that you can find in solitude. When around many loved ones, I also carry the sadness that can come with love. By not getting too attached, I can avoid the pain that often follows. Loving others can sometimes complicate life because love is often mixed with wanting and needing, leading to suffering. It's good to think about what I value things, feelings, or relationships. If I were to leave this world right now, the things I care about most might be my family, possessions, and love. However, being too attached to these things can cause distress. Love can sometimes bring pain because attachment often leads to suffering. I should care for what I love but not hold on too tightly. Nothing truly belongs to us, we can't fully own anything. The world has a lot of emptiness that gives us no true home for our hearts. We often look for love because we want to escape feeling lonely, but even in love, there can be a feeling of emptiness. We need to recognize and face this basic loneliness to find true love. When we confront it, pure love can grow free and not tied to needing something back, like a flower that blooms. It's important not to define who I am by things that aren't really me. A wise person knows how to be strong and brave while remembering their past and thinking about the future. They understand that life and death will eventually stop for everyone. When this wisdom becomes deep understanding, like what the Buddha taught, we can call ourselves Brahmins, which means wise and enlightened individuals. The strongest thing we can do is to be true to ourselves. If I don't have strength and courage, I won't be able to stand tall in front of others. Self-control is essential. If someone can't manage their own feelings or actions, they can't help others either. An old philosopher, Cicero, said those who commit to being themselves will find happiness. No one else should define your true self, not even a god. You can choose your beliefs, so don't leave it up to fate or others to say who you are. It is your job to live your life today, and it shouldn't depend only on what the divine has planned. David Lawrence pointed out that, as individuals, we are often alone. I am who I am, and recognizing this truth is key to accepting myself and finding happiness. I find true joy in building my life on a good understanding of myself. I don't look for my identity in what others think or in things that don't match who I really am. If I don't really want to do something for someone, I shouldn't pretend to do it. Actions that aren't sincere take away from who I am. Amiel once said that turning a heavy heart into something bright and positive brings true happiness. Everyone has goodness inside. Through that goodness, we find the strength and courage that lead us to true fulfillment. Nothing is impossible if I am willing to face challenges that seem hard. I can become a true follower of the Buddha, and by doing that, I will find a strength I always thought was out of reach. Anyone who follows the teachings of the Buddha is part of his community. Those who study his lessons and teachings are also considered his followers. By practicing what he taught, we make ourselves stronger. We must grow our determination and courage and remember that we can all be Buddha's followers. It's really important to appreciate the meaningful moments of being alone. Finding the right path in life is not easy. The rare chance to meet someone like the Buddha and to hear his teachings reminds us how special our lives are. We often come into this world without a clear reason for being here, which can lead to feelings of emptiness, just like philosopher Heidegger talked about when he thought about life's uncertainties. Being alive at all is a miracle, a wonderful blessing. We are lucky to live in a time when we can learn from the Buddha's wisdom. It's easy to go through life without understanding how special this blessing is, and it reminds us to be humble. After enlightenment, the Buddha was on his way to teach the people in the Benares region. On his journey, he met a man named Yuba, who was not a follower of Buddhism. Yuba said, "Master, your face shines with such brightness. Who is your teacher?" The Buddha answered, "I am the conqueror, the one who knows everything. I have let go of all my desires and broken free from my chains. I have destroyed my cravings to gain freedom and reached great wisdom. I have no teacher, no one in heaven or on earth is my equal. I am the saint of this world, the highest teacher, the Buddha, who knows the truth. I have found peace beyond all feelings and will share the eternal truth with the world." This amazing statement surprised Yuba, and he might have doubted what he heard. In the end, Yuba quickly left the Buddha. The thinker Pascal said there are three types of people: those who look for God and serve him, those who search for something but do not find it, and those who don't seek anything. The people who don't try to find anything often lack wisdom and happiness. Then, some can see God but choose not to follow him. These people might have some wisdom, but they aren't pleased. The truth can only be found by those who are open to it. Only those who keep exploring without a clear path can discover it. Life is happening all around us, but those who fully engage in it will eventually find themselves different from those who don't. This is why, in the end, everyone feels a bit alone. So, embrace those quiet moments of solitude because it's during these times that we can truly become ourselves. Remember, you are just a being thrown into this world, and it's in solitude you can discover what it means to be truly human.